Memorial.
Whoa! What the fuck? Yeah! Yeah, baby! Are you guys like making some noise today or what? Hey, fucking welcome to Sunday Live Jamma Rappa Jappa Mappa
Jam Sam.
Jam
Sandwich
Mappa de Sappa.
Hello out there in TV land.
Hello out there, everybody.
Hello.
This is, of course, the lovely Baseck and the lovely PILO. PILO, have you not been on with us before?
First time.
Holy shit, welcome, brother.
Thank you.
What's your proper full name then?
My full name's Cameron Ward. We just call me PILO.
Cameron Ward?
Cameron Ward, yeah. But
AKA PILO.
AKA PILO.
But don't you have a second PILO name?
PILO?
Like PILO the goat smasher or something like that?
rice pilaf.
He has a new project called Sculptor Tracks.
Sculptor Tracks, yeah.
And tell us about it.
Well, shit. I mean, me and Derek have been writing a lot of like breakcore and drum and bass, and he's been inspiring me so fucking much because he has a huge discography of the shit. So
You guys have been going for a while, man.
yeah, we've been going for years, and he rips it on the rhythm, and I'm slowly getting back into it. And we just chop breaks, and I started making stuff about 170, 175, and we started writing tracks together. And I was like, shit, I need to do a new name. So yeah,
Is that the bass tempo for you guys? 170, 175?
something like that. Yeah, pretty much.
You guys like to keep it up there.
Yeah, I think. Remember, I was stuck on 180 forever.
Yeah.
We slowed it down by 5 BPM.
Does that come with age?
No, it was. I don't know what it was actually. I think there was a lot of drum and bass that I was mixing stuff with, and I was like, oh, 180 just seems a little bit too fast, but I don't know.
Yeah, because I mean, we can do all these hyper edits, and you can also go halftime. So I feel like going super fast is really nice, because you can kind of have the merit of going slow, but also really fast and IDM-ish as well, which is dope. Yeah, so I mean, that's just pretty much started from there. It just happens so naturally, and Derricks brought this out of me. He's definitely A lot of like Boys Noise Records and stuff are like scared of that stuff. I love that, but Derricks like, damn, I just got him on like the hardcore tip, and it's been amazing.
You train people well, Derrick.
We train each other.
If you're around Derrick for a while, you'll learn immensely things.
Start getting crazy.
That but what's cool is that I've witnessed your growth as well since I've known you a long time.
Yeah, you know me.
You used to be intimidated when you came in this room, and now you can easily dominate.
Extremely intimidated because at the time I was only making music on the Game Boy when we first met.
What?
Right.
And so he would take me down to this room and expecting my eyes to light up and want to touch everything, but I just would get scared. I don't know how any of this works. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
And it took a minute. But now I'm super
shred everything here, honestly.
I mean, there's nobody I know that knows gear more than you now, though. Like if I want to know about a piece of gear, I ask you now first.
Yeah.
The crazy thing though is
that's amazing.
It doesn't, because I feel like sometimes when people really know the gear, I feel like the knowledge kind of gets in the way of the creativity. But this fool just like really naturally expresses it through everything. He's like, oh, check this out. This is kind of tight. I'm like, damn, we should record that. It's like all the time. Like, he shreds it every time.
I think it just comes from, the Game Boy was limited with only 4 channels, and you just try and do the most that you can do on there with,
it's a tracker.
Old Amigas, too, that people were very creative. They're like, the second the bass drum stops on one channel, let's fill it with a different sound, and that way, you can kind of make the trick that there's so many sounds going on, but only 4 at a time, and then so that way getting into all this other gear, it was all about like, let's learn how to just milk it and just see how we could just juice these things for like, every single sound possible and figure out every single way of programming and, fill up every single information on the step sequencers and just really.
Yeah, but I don't know, like, because you started with a tracker, and tracker is kind of like one of the hardest things to get musical on first. I mean, if you start with something that's like, as they say, the hardest instrument, and then move around other instruments. Did you find other instruments easier than you thought to learn? Uh-oh.
Sorry,
Gesundheit.
If there was other machines that were easy to learn because of the tracker knowledge, or what?
Yeah, because like a tracker, essentially, under those circumstances, is, in this case, an incredibly small version of like renoise.
Right.
Which, essentially, you were taking samples.
Yeah.
And then you were manipulating samples by giving it note on, note off information, etc.
Yeah,
and all of these things. But on a screen about this big.
Yeah, it was tiny.
And then, and that was your world. But you
know
were
what's
killing
trippy,
it.
Though? I felt like what's nuts about that is that trackers are so ahead of their times to be so precise with the amount of information you want to send one step of music that I felt like a lot of these other drum machines and stuff, it just could not compare.
Look at that! I fuck with
that was his setup, man.
That was the setup right there. Actually, you see that little
Game Boy?
The green one.
Yeah, but that little green thing that I'm tapping on right there, that was actually this really hilarious piece that I got walking down Broadway downtown. You're supposed to put an old iPod in the back of it and then hook up the 1/8 inch into the iPod, and it was marketed as playing songs or playing drums along to your favorite songs. And they were on sale. They were on clearance for $2. And I remember I bought like 5 of them. And so that pad right there, it has like an 808 drum kit, and since it was such a low bit rate, the thing just sounded crushed and blown out. So it had an 808, a scratch sample, like a cowbell, and then when you click the button, it goes to another kit that sounded like a harsh-ass death metal kit. So that's playing the $2 toy over the tracker on the Game Boy.
But it didn't sound like that when you heard it live.
No, that was so brutal.
It sounded brutal, and I'm witness to it, and...
I actually might re-release some of the Game Boy stuff. That's us over in Tokyo.
Yeah, it's in Tokyo. And then
with Dijodo.
Isn't it kind of safe to say that this is really the transitional point? It was like you came over with the Game Boys, you killed it that night.
It was a Game Boy turntable for scratching, yeah.
You're really a turntablist by nature to begin with, probably before the Game Boys, right?
Yeah.
So you started in your turntables in your bedroom.
Yeah, which I felt like the turntables was just a segue to synthesis, because a lot of the records that I was getting would have just a straight tone on it, and then you start scratching the tone, then you get into synthesis, and you're like, wait, this is like scratching, like a pitch from the oscillator going up and down sounds like the scratching on the turntable. Oh yeah, we just got the monotrons. Yeah, that was amazing.
Oh yeah. Well, like I said, I guess we can share that. This is like, man.
That was amazing because the Korg Monotron, this is the first analog piece that they released in years, right? Like 20 years or so. I don't know the exact time on that. And we were like, wait, we're in Japan. We should be able to find these over here.
And it was hard.
We went to all these shops.
We went to Akihabara finally.
We found the Monotrons, and then we were excited because it wasn't even released in the U.S. yet. So here we are. Blasting.
And I remember I didn't know if we were being deemed disrespectful or not, having our little duo there.
Yeah, we felt like it was offering.
I feel like the Buddha
it did have audio.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think there's a video of it somewhere.
You have a video of that?
Yeah, somewhere. But we did an event there. That was pretty amazing.
I still have that poster at the
Whoa,
crib.
that shit goes hard.
I should put that up actually on.
You know what's really weird is that now this is like.
Who made that font for you?
This is like an eon ago.
Yeah.
It's like sick. I think it's like 2009 or 10.
Yeah. No, wait. Oh, I thought it said right there.
That was Sonic Death Rabbit.
Did it say?
No, it just says since 2005.
I remember that you knew this guy that was on the bill, Chaos Raoul.
Yeah.
And he turned out to be just a real character, didn't he?
Yeah.
I can imagine with that name, Chaos Raoul.
He was starting to try and scream, and then his mic didn't turn on, so then he started yelling at the sound people. And it's like, in Japan, it's like they take that stuff seriously and like so disrespectful of someone coming at them like that.
Dishonored everyone in the crowd.
Yeah, it was really bizarre.
Oh, it was
Yeah,
funny.
that
It
was
was funny
amazing.
though. You were given the play-by-plays. It was almost like watching a wrestling match.
Yeah, and we were just cracking up from the balcony.
Man, the old school here.
Yeah.
You and Christina, Sonic Death Rabbit. So is this really like the first band that you formed as a result of it, or did you start solo? Because I saw you solo.
Yeah. It was solo, and then I met Christinky, and she was really interested in the Game Boy stuff, and we were just like, she was playing in a hardcore band, playing keyboard, and she was mostly doing low bass notes. I think she would run herself into a bass cab, and I was like, oh, this is super sick. Why don't we try this with the Game Boy? And then she quit the band, and then we started Sonic Death Rabbit.
Is that the MS? Is it some
MS
2000?
MS
2000
yeah.
looks like.
Yeah. We didn't know anything about synths at the time because it said that it's a digital synth, but it says analog modeling, but they just mean analog like knobs, So in our mind, we thought like, oh, this has crazy analog circuits in it,
That just sounds crazy though.
We didn't know anything, but it's super dope synth. You could.
You used to.
Yeah, I was looking for that photo.
Wow.
Yes, you gotta send that to me.
Holy
Okay,
shit.
yeah, it's the classic. Hot carrot.
I'm loving this.
We were so hyped by that.
This is in Kamakura.
No, I just
in
love
Japan.
that because at that time, we found the synths, and then we just kept taking trains and walking, or a lot of walking.
No,
so,
you went. I took you everywhere. We went everywhere.
So we would go eat.
It was amazing.
And then we would go walk 30 minutes to the next place to eat again.
That's right.
We were
That's
just
right.
over and over like.
It was an eating
food is
experience.
so
He was like, "How can you guys eat so much?"
That's
Well, the classic
I was doing
highballs.
some work.
And
for
then I
Moleco
know we
right
skipped
there.
ahead here in your history, but like as I said,
Oh, we're going through the history. Let's go.
from then
I love
days
this.
and then now you become the man that demos the gear at NAMM. It's come a long way from like being the guy starting on Game Boys to now like being on top of the gear, demoing it for people the right way. If you see one of your demos, it's not the same as like seeing it with somebody else. You really see and hear something like.
That's what I was just gonna say. This fool, like, he'll do a demo and people are just wanting to buy them. Like
I know.
He'll just like try it on for a second and shred it like crazy.
Well, part of the thing is that I love proving haters wrong. So when something comes out, and it was kind of my mission for a minute. A new piece of gear would come out, and I would have it, and it would get all the bad reviews, and I'd be like, wait a minute, I don't think people are using these in really interesting ways. Let's show someone an interesting way, because everyone always forgets that a lot of times it's not the tool, it's the work, the energy that you put into it to try and make something shine. And I think that's just something that I that I really took from this stuff, and a lot these photos. Oh yeah, this was amazing. I was playing a hardcore renegade show by I think this was like in the city of Vernon, California, which is like neighboring Los Angeles, probably still Los Angeles County. It's only like 20-minute drive or less from downtown. But yeah, hardcore.
You play raves now.
Now I've been
like the rave culture's back, is it not?
Oh yeah, it is, but it
but
always,
more than ever now, it seems.
Yeah, more than ever.
Isn't it kind of like half fueled by you in a weird way? Hold on, let's get to that in a sec. I mean, this was what, a couple weeks ago?
Oh, what's
a couple days
amazing
ago?
about this is that so this is like
that's like a real rave look.
This is a throwback to some of the old school, and DJ Irene and REW have been around forever since the early '90s. And actually, I played my first rave in like I believe it was November of '95 or something.
Whoa!
And yeah, it was like
with them.
No, but I knew of REW then.
Yeah.
So this was a kind of a throwback. What's amazing, Kevin? I've seen some of the mixtapes and stuff you had in the storage that Dwayne got, and Dwayne was on top of it. Kevin,
He was. He used to fly down to come to all these things.
So Dwayne, Kevin's old partner, rest in peace.
Yeah.
He was a genius, and I saw that he had REW mixtapes.
That's
yeah,
right.
the ones they showed me on
The same
YouTube, right?
ones that I had as a kid. So it's
Really?
like, yeah. There was some upstairs, and you were like, "Yeah, this is
we'll look after
Dwayne's. This is
this.
Dwayne's stuff."
He
And,
showed me those after.
and so REW is someone that I looked up to. We used to buy his tapes at a place called Chubb's Hip Hop Shop in Lancaster, California, and we were all 7th grade and shit like that before we even started DJing. And it would be like me and a group of like 5 friends would go hang around. We get the new REW tape, and after school, everyone would come to my house, and we would just kind of sit there and just study it. Like, this music is so bizarre, this DJ is so good, and he was the one that was killing it, bringing breakbeat, hardcore, rave shit to LA, and Dwayne from Skinny Puppy was on it too.
He
he
was-
he had those
transformed.
mixtapes and shit.
Yeah.
And that really tripped me out.
He
when
transformed.
when you showed me that. I was like, whoa, that's bizarre.
Dwayne started wearing capes and
Really?
Ren and Stimpy underwear on the outside of his pants.
Yes! That's beautiful.
Right.
Man's
He
got
was-
swag.
He was had full on head in.
This was amazing. I moved to South LA, and there was train tracks directly behind me. I was living in this little warehouse that I don't think you were supposed to be living at, but right behind me, I would always hear all this commotion, and I went back there. I was like, oh, there's train tracks, and that's just me walking through the train tracks. And I was like, wait a minute, like, what are the odds that right behind my place, someone's just graffitiing some drum machine stuff? So,
Yeah, no. What are the chances of that?
so I set my phone down and just took.
But that's just
took a
so
photo
perfect.
of that. I know.
It's beautiful.
You think you're defined by like drum machines in some weird way? Like,
Yeah, I think I pushed it a lot like years ago, and I might really start doing that again. My social media used to be just filled up with drum machines, and then I feel like it got too gear orientated, and then people just started looking towards gear, and which is amazing, like I love showing people the possibilities of this stuff, but I was like, wait a minute, like I have to start showing more of my artist stuff and showing my releases and what's going on with my more artistic. I mean, I guess it's all artistic, but I stopped showing my drum machine stuff, because years ago I was doing like, a drum machine beat a day keeps the doctor away, just as a little joke, and on social media I just started like grabbing whatever drum machine I had around the house and just like showing a beat all the time, and everyone was like, every drum machine, they're like, oh, let's see if Baseck has it, and every Eurorack drum module, Baseck gotta fuck with this one, and
He's got a whole tower of drum brains, and
Kevin showed me a lot
I've
of
lived
them too.
vicariously
So-
through him, and he started his addiction,
And
I
I-
believe, partially in this room.
Yeah, and then I would show you some stuff you'd never even heard about.
Absolutely.
You're just like, what?
Always was the one to get something out of like something back there that you'd never heard.
yeah, just the tones and stuff. And
That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
And it opens the door, and then the next thing you know, you are become very good at getting gear, like at searching it out and finding it, and like say the DX200
Oh yeah,
or something like that.
That's a Yamaha Groovebox, which has drum tracks and FM synth.
Yeah.
Which is wild that this piece right here.
yes, Oh my God, this fool! There's a story. There's always
There's a kick drum in here.
And I begged him for it to give it to me for years, and he never gave it to me. And it's the one that's like, it's on that like, it's you heard like that bounce. And I always begged him to try to recreate it, which was also a really cool creative way to
sound
start
design, yeah.
But then we realized it was only a sample and it wasn't actual synthesis.
No, I knew it was a sample. I was just gatekeeping it from him because he was like, give me that sound. And what's hilarious,
nah.
what's hilarious is this machine right here. It has the kick drum from Apex's track in it. Apex Twin, like ISO Profo, whatever it's called, and it's like.
It's on that on track, the beach.
And it was so incredible, and he heard it. And what was weird though was like, did Aphex get it from this? But this came out way later than the Aphex song. So I was like trying to do research and trying to find the forums. I'm like, did they actually sample Aphex Twin? And
wow, yeah, that is a good question.
So it's really strange.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of gabber and stuff growing up used to use that same kick drum, and I've used it in like 3 songs that I did in collaboration. One of them was with A.G. Cook from PC Music. He called me up one day, and you actually got a little bit bummed because I was like, "Oh, that kick that you love, I just gave it to A.G. Cook." I was all pissed.
I wasn't pissed.
No, I think he started laughing. But
I was laughing. But yeah, there's that. Remember that PlayStation 1 soundtrack that has like a CJ Bolin track?
Yeah.
But he does it in a way that doesn't sound like a sample at all.
Oh yeah, so I told you about this one, and we got him, and we hooked up 2 of them, and we started going crazy. But yeah, my friend AG called me one day, and he had a piano track, and he's like, I was like, what are you working on? He's like, oh, I'm doing all these piano tracks. And I had this open. I was like, well, I'm making the Gabber track. And he showed me the piano, and I started tapping. I was like, it needs this. Gong, 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 gong. I sent him the kick, and then he put in the track and credited me on it, even though I only sent him the kick drum. He's like, additional production by Baseck.
That counts.
I was like, man,
That counts,
that guy's amazing. Like, you know, just, and
Hey.
I probably used it in like 3 tracks since. But
Spice up the vibe.
yeah, it was
So
all.
that's a piece of gear you wouldn't sell, right? You haven't sold yours.
Nah, I haven't sold mine. My boy CZ, he's on Evar Records, and when I first met, he was on this too, and we hooked up 2 the other day, and we're super into it.
Dog, all these like older machines,
You
digital.
need to get one.
I
He
know,
needs
I
to
need to
get
get
one.
one.
We'll
I'm
hook
thinking
up
about-
3. Hook up 3
Yeah,
together.
no, we gotta have all like a back to back with it.
But-
all like that orange one that we were talking about, like all these like old synths that you have are just incredible. The old
You're talking what, the Roland MC2?
No, the Roland D2.
Oh, that thing with
That's
the
the
square?
orange one, yeah, with the weird
That's-
little touch screen on it. So, I think what happened was everyone started going analog crazy. Then they forgot about all this beautiful digital stuff. So then that's when I started snagging it all up. But now everything's just probably outrageous prices.
But, you know, now since I've known you, you've had the time to go through all these boxes.
Yeah.
I mean, there is probably not a bunch of boxes that you haven't gone through. You even found boxes that people don't even know that exist.
Yeah.
So,
Sure.
let's run through like what you found as the highlights, because I'm sure everyone would like to know like what are keepers, and you know, you've even got one you're going to demonstrate for us today because you call it the ultimate.
Yeah, the ultimate.
We'll get there when we get there. What
ultimate
do we got to break?
seduction.
What do we got to get through?
Wait,
Are you over the world of Eurorack?
The hot topic.
there's a lot of questions right
A lot
here.
of topics.
Okay, you know what? I kind of am.
Good answer.
Because nothing has been
It's honest.
blowing my mind.
Yeah, you're honest. That's honest though.
But I think what's going on with that is I used Eurorack for so long, so many years, and then, you know, it's just one of those things. It goes back and forth. Right now I'm over it, but I'm going to get really back into it probably in like a year again or something.
What do you think it'll take?
It'll take...
Sounds?
No, I think... Yeah, maybe sounds, but...
I feel like also it could be when you find a certain combination that works
Yeah.
really well, because we still go to it and record shit and still like, fuck, this is dope, but it doesn't make you want to shred a whole track.
Now usually the Eurorack is used to sprinkle some spices on the top, you know? Like I'm still using the Herb Verb Tons, which is, you know, a crazy chaotic reverb, and
Right.
I'll just let it feed back on itself to do these insane metallic shrills, and I just kind of use those for risers and stuff. But since I got more and more into the electron boxes again, and you're able to do parameter locking and stuff, I think the Electron changed the game with parameter locking, with being able to take one step and saying, I want this step to be an insane kick drum. And then, you know, a couple steps later, this is a wild laser snare that has a reverb throw and a delay throw on it. But the next sound could be some metallic shrapnel. And then you're doing all these things, parameter locking on one channel, and you still have a bunch of other channels open. And I feel like they open the doors to do just really weird shit, you know? And Eurorack, you'd be like, okay, I need a sequencer with like 12 CV outs to be able to do that. Actually, Ben Davis and I, when we invented the voltage block module, that was based on basically like parameter locking. We're like, okay, let's make... I had an idea that I told some other companies. I think I told Noise Engineering and I told Make Noise. I was like, we got to do a module that's similar to pressure points. Remember their old pressure points? Mm-hmm. But digital, that like that saves and recalls. That way we're able to send like 8 voltages to one module, and then you could set all those voltages on one step and create a kick. And the next step, you could change all those 8 voltages and it'll make a snare. And I'm like, okay, this is like the Electron school of thought of parameter locking. And I told Ben Davis the idea, who was designing at Meleco, and he was like, wait, I actually have a sequencer that's similar to that I've been thinking of. And yeah, the voltage block was born. But before that, Eurorack was so boring with like 8-step sequencers and stuff like that. It was always like 8 steps with knob above it for pitch, like unquantized and everything. So I think that really started like being like, okay, we need to be able to like...
Get a bit of air.
Yeah, like modular is in, you know how it is, like Scott Yeager's making these insane like piston Honda wavetable stuff for industrial music electronics, and then I was like, now we need a way to like control this, because there's amazing futuristic sounds, but then how are we gonna like send all these voltages in a simple way and be able to recall them? But right now, for Eurorack, I'm mainly only using effects. Like I bought a skiff, and I have that like right above my station, so my favorite drum machine workstation's right here. And then when I'm going to record into the DAW, I'll send one of the channels through like a chain of Eurorack effects and stuff. So I'm really digging the effects right now.
Yeah, he threaded it. You threaded it to your live show recently, a catch one with CZ.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was the first time I've seen him in a long time bring modular. He used his rhythm and then used a bunch of effects that are modular as a return or sound.
Yeah,
nice.
And it sounded really good because he can shred the rhythm like great, but then adding the effects adds another whole element.
Does the rhythm have output, or are you just using audio in that case?
I was just actually running it, the Electron Analog Rhythm, into a mixer, and it just had a send and return fader, and that's it.
That's it.
Yeah, and I had the Eurorack effects right here doing their own things. So every time I hit that return, is like triggering all the Eurorack effects.
What type of effects are you using?
I was using the small tip-top ones. They have a whole new line that's like little small modules with all these digital algorithms.
I think we went over that last chat, maybe even when you were at your place. Yeah.
No, it's all blur.
I know. This is an update since the last one, but man, I think it's been a year and a half or so since then.
Yeah, but I love Eurorack still. It's like, you know, I created that module with Boys Noise and Steady State Fate, and you know, I use that a lot. It's a distortion comb and filter, and I think it'll come. You know what's hilarious about it? I think Eurorack's gonna come into play again once I start getting crazy into sound design, because then I'm just gonna sample the shit out of it and put it in my sampler. Where before, you know, everyone's like was being purists about it, and like, oh, that's a no, you know, like, I don't know, it was so weird 10 years ago or 8 years ago or whatever it was. But so now, which brings me to, you're saying if I was over at Eurorack, like I've been getting into the 90s groove boxes again, you know, the MC 307s and the 505s. Like a lot of those sounds were meant to create, like Roland caught on, and they're like, oh, we're gonna make these things sound like a rave, you know, and a lot of them were kind of cheesy, but then when you revisit them now, you're like, wait, these are kind of sick. These like,
that's why we got the Planet Fat out specifically for you.
Oh, this thing is
it's not it's not something normally in the rack here, but we knew that Derek is in the Rave, likes to explore all the Rave machines. And it's been in the rack over there for like years.
It's called Planet Fat with PHATT.
Now,
And
did you
it's
guys find anything special in there?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my god, every time I was like, record that shit, record it, it's so much bullshit. Dude, like everything, we're gonna go halfsies on one, we gotta record
Okay, we were
shit.
looking online and what it's like $200.
Oh damn it! See, someone's gonna get it. Someone's gonna grab it now before I do.
Somebody wait.
No, these are horrible.
Today's price.
Yeah, they're horrible.
Wait, if anybody's watching and has one, I'll trade Eurorack modules for any emu racks.
Yeah, they're not online, folks.
So it's like, yeah, all these old boxes, they have the sounds that I loved as a kid. They have scratch samples, they have, you know, little weird horns, and a lot of the orchestral sounding that like you could use like CNC Music Factory style. And I think one of the beauties of like learning all this insane sound design, making laser beats and making shit sound like hyper edits of Autechre, is now that I'm going back and rediscovering the old rave roots of my childhood, it's like, okay, now let's combine that, because we don't want to just repeat the past. We want to take pads and weird sounds from this, but then combine them with like super laser sounding shit, you know?
I think that's like a true way to ode to like...
Like your true childhood?
Yeah, my true childhood. We were listening to rave stuff right there. We were listening, that's me and my brother Jose right
Look at those
there.
pants!
Look at my pants now. I mean, they can't see it on the screen, but I'm wearing
There's
like
some Raven
I'm
pants.
wearing like size 40s right
Beats on
now
mine.
because I'm back up in the mix. So we're already listening to rave shit right there.
Yeah, hard. That sure goes
So
hard.
what is the like the rave essence of like what did you discover as being the greatest machine to recall the rave essence? Is it okay? I want to say you're a huge
An old school one?
electron.
No, but
Okay, you're gonna go.
But I'm gonna
old
go
school.
to the old school one
Okay.
first. I already bought it, so everyone could buy them now. The Roland MC307 has been one of my go-tos lately because
That's that other box.
yeah, it's similar to your 505 right here.
It's the one that's not on the wall back there.
Yeah. Your 505 actually might be might have all the same sounds because you know they keep on
Yeah.
they keep just redoing them and adding some new things. But I want to borrow your 505 because it has the D-Beam on it, and everyone used to diss the D-Beam.
I don't know. The D-Beam was the thing.
And if people don't know what the D-Beam is, it's like Roland bought this technology. Do you know what D-Beam
Look at
stands
the face
for?
on
Do
this
you know what
one.
D-Beam stands for?
No. What? Let's hear it. Derrick Beam.
Exactly.
Derrick Beam.
So Roland bought the technology
It's
from.
rigged.
So look at the D-Beam is right here, and you could like assign that to the cutoff filter, and you move your hand over it, and you could affect the sound. So Roland bought that from, I forgot the name of the company, but it's Dimension Beam, and so there were these MIDI controllers that were like this big, and all it was the D-Beam and a huge MIDI controller, and then you could just send that MIDI CC to whatever machine you wanted, but they were huge. So like I seen like at Perfect Circuit they had like 4 of them, like the old school ones, and then Roland bought the technology and started putting them in their machines. But
You know that guy lives in L.A.
that created the D-Beam.
Yeah.
Wait, I think I might have met him.
Yeah, he's a friend of. He did some stuff for Danny Carey for his kit. He was one of the guys that built those purple pads that Danny
That's
uses.
incredible.
Yeah, and
So
he was
everyone thought
responsible
that
for the
shit-
D-Beam. He licensed it to Roland.
Yeah, he licensed
Yeah,
it.
I wish I could remember his name right now.
We'll look it up.
Somebody knows. Spill it on the side there.
Dimension Beam. Who created the Dimension Beam?
The D-Beam controller. Yeah.
Oh dang! So Rich Dawson is saying that the 909 has 2 D-Beams, which you have right here actually.
Let's check it.
Okay, so
The 505.
one of these is coming with me
Oh,
when I'm
yeah.
leaving. When I'm leaving. So the homie Kodak from Erica Since when we started getting down with Grooveboxes, he got really into this one. And some of these presets are fire.
Yeah.
It has like
I
Gabber.
agree.
It has Gabber presets in there. It has
This one's a
jungle
keeper.
presets. Like
It's a keeper. And considering how cheap they become in some weird ways too.
I think they're probably back up. These are probably like.
Now hold
5.
on, there is 2 D-Beams.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
one here and one here.
Nice fight.
Yes, you are correct, sir.
Yo.
Yeah, the MC909. So you like the MC307?
Yeah, I like the 307
I
just
never
because
tried
that's the
that
one that I
The other
found.
one's
This is
incredible.
bigger sounding compared to the 505.
Big boy.
So the 505, we used a lot in Download and Plateau.
Really?
Yeah.
So
hell of a lot.
You know what's funny? A lot of the times when people were recording those, they're thinking, "Oh, we're listening to the real sounds of the 808s and 909s and stuff," and you're probably just ripping them from the 505 and stuff.
Well, no, we were using the synth sounds in there
Oh, the
mostly.
synths,
Using the
yeah.
drum sounds, not so much.
No, there's like
some-
there's choir sounds in there.
Yeah,
that
all
are
sorts of
amazing.
cool sequence sounds and.
And also the tutorial videos are fucking hilarious.
Oh, they're fire.
So
They're
good.
so fire. I actually wanted to do a project where I'm trying to think of a name, like some sort of like DJ preset extreme or something, where I'm basically just taking their presets and slightly like changing them to my liking and just see what happens. Like, I know that's kind of shady, but like I was
shady.
I was thinking just like, let's just release these all and not really tell anyone, but just so I could use them in DJ sets, you know, and then just like, you know, I was actually on a lot of forums and asking like, hey, does anyone know who made these sounds? Or I was looking through the manuals and trying to see who was credited and trying to look them up to see what they're doing now and stuff like that. Like, hey, you want to collab on a track, or do you have anything from the 90s?
It's crazy though, because you'll go through new synths and new drum machines and the presets are not inspiring as much. And then you go back to these machines, you're like, holy
Yeah, I know.
shit.
What's the deal with that?
I don't know. Fools are running
Is
out of
it the-
ideas.
The people that
Right,
are programming the sounds now have become
I think,
like,
I
not
think
as-
people are just not
as
taking
hip
chances
or-
as much.
Yeah, because
Or-
that was a wild ass time when technology and music and like rave shit was coming all together, and it was just like, let's emulate this sound, all this kind of stuff.
The MC
Crazy
909
motherfuckers.
has 200 BPM gabber tracks on it. That's like GABA, G-A-B-B-A. Like, what? Like, I try and give presets to larger companies now of crazy stuff, and a lot of times, you know, if I give them 10 things, they'll take like the slowest one, you know? And it's like, people want to be well-rounded. I think techno got really popular too, you know, in the last handful of years. So every machine was like, oh, let's market to a techno audience, and then people weren't like putting crazy drum and bass stuff in there. And
Yeah.
but yeah, all those old Rolands are fire.
All the
So
wonky
your
presets.
question was like, you know, ultimate rave machine. I think it's the MC307's the ultimate rave machine. We actually, one of our tracks that's gonna come out, is that gonna be on your next Boys Days record release, or?
Yeah, Field 307.
Yeah, we did a track called Feel 307, which was just basically all the MC307, and that just happened one of those ways where he came through and I said, hey, I got this machine, let's light it up. First pattern that we did on it was like, this is gold, you know, and it actually just got licensed to, there's this, Fabric used to be a club? Or is it
Fabric's the
still a
club, but it's also a label, and then they do like fabric mixes, so they sell those like a vinyl.
Where are they
CD.
from?
London.
London.
So Fabric, the label, they'll get like one artist, and this one was this guy Nicola Cruz, and he was doing a mix series, and he used our track that had the Roland MC307 in it, and now it's gonna come out on like double vinyl with a lot of the other artist stuff. But yeah, that was a track we made in like 1 second.
Yeah,
we made it in like 20 minutes.
And we're like, what's gonna happen with this track? And then all of a sudden, Boys is like, yo, this one. And I'm like,
Oh.
okay.
And then yeah, I feel like that's one of the.
Well, you guys
ultimate-
got a bunch of things going. What are the names of the projects that are going to be? Baseck with PILO?
That's some of our older stuff, but now since he's doing more cut up breaks, his new thing is called Sculptor Tracks, and that he's
Sculpted tracks.
Sculptor
Sculptor tracks.
tracks, and you're doing it as one long word, right?
Yeah, one long word.
With
Sculptor
the,
tracks.
with a Z in the front. Sculptor Tracks.
ZKULPTOR tracks.
We're just trying to make it confusing.
Yeah, we're
for
trying to
people.
Make it as confusing as possible.
Yes,
We're not having an
But
aneurysm.
okay, so
So and then I have one called DJ Torture Rhythm, and DJ Torture Rhythm was gonna be just like kind of like insane breaks with like harsh noise, and I don't know why. Like I think I just got bored and I started thinking of all these different projects because you know how it is. Like you have a zillion projects.
But that is different. Every time I ever see you, you play something that I've never heard.
Oh, okay.
I will never hear the same song twice out of
Right,
you guys.
right.
So to keep up is you know is the question. Like
we challenge each other all the time.
yeah. So you're creating all the time with stuff that you guys. I know you guys created a team like a few years back now.
Oh
right?
yeah, we have Closhi in the mix too,
Closhi.
and then now we're just more and more people are we're finding more producers to hang with. Actually, I want you to meet my friend CZ. You know, Marcy or TO9 has
Every
a
time I
label
meet
now.
somebody through you, they are making radical music.
Wait till you meet CZ too.
Yeah.
He's just like
He's a
us.
trance riff master, like melodies like crazy.
You know, since we're now, like back in the day in the 90s, I didn't like trance. I thought it was super cheesy, like all these like uplifting melodies. And I think something happened with the shift of this world these last years where I'm like, I really want to feel good. And so these trance melodies that I didn't like are really making me feel happy. And all these cheesy ARP sounds. And so our boy CZ, he gets on the keys and his hands are trance ARP fingers. He's like,
yeah, he literally said he wakes up and thinks of melodies right when he wakes up and has to do it.
And we just give him a super saw and he's sitting there trance hands, and so
what's he using?
He's using the same stuff that we are. He's mainly
like
using Digitone. He's shredding the Digitone right now. Yeah, and he's using the Yamaha DX200 a lot. And,
really?
He has
one of those.
And I think he probably has some weird Yamaha synths that I've never even heard
all
about.
those like effects units and stuff too. He's been showing us.
He got us into effects units that are like meant for guitars and stuff like that, little half racks and stuff.
I have 2 pieces now that I've like gotten for you that CZ's also like showing
guitar
us.
effects.
Guitar effects and like this little keyboard.
Like which ones?
A little MIDI.
I don't even remember the name, but you go on mono. There's
Name's important.
Yeah.
We're trying to inspire people to look for shit.
Yeah.
Hey, I can look for it right now.
No, but so I mean, pedal effects have always been great to add instruments to give.
Well, the half
extra
racks,
character.
like how Boss does all the little tiny half racks.
Yeah.
I remember Scott Yeager. He
SE50.
He got me into that too because he had just like all these little half racks stacked up, and then you start getting into them and thinking you're into something special. Then you read an old Autechre review and they're like doing all the same shit that you are like 20 years later. For me, anyways. Because I. But yeah, we've been building a crew. I feel like of a bunch of producers that just come over and kick it, and CZ's a part of that now too. And I'm doing a lot of stuff now with Aura T09. Her and Prashante have Evar Records and
FX500.
So CZ's on
on
that label.
Yeah.
CZ's on Evar.
Yamaha FX500, folks.
And
you can see that?
Yep.
No,
you can't see it at all.
Look at that. You can see all white.
Perfect.
Okay, no.
Wow.
Yamaha FX500. It's a half rack. Looks like the Boss SE50.
Yeah, that's just crazy. I use it part of my chain. I run my rhythm through that into the Zen delay, into some modular effects, and I record everything through it. Everything sounds incredible.
Well, when you guys work together, don't you like to, leave one department for one guy while another guy handles another department? Or you guys just share
would
both
think it
worlds?
would be like that, but everybody just shreds. Because years ago, I wasn't really fast at Ableton, so I would do some stuff on the modular, and PILO would do all the editing. But now, I'm super quick at Ableton, and I finally love it. I think that's why I don't mess with the Eurorack.
Watch out, then.
Oh no, that's why I was.
Because you were the master, right? He's the master of Ableton. So what he shared with you is.
I want him to flourish.
It's dangerous. It's dangerous.
I love it.
I used to get on Ableton and I'd actually press a button and I'm like, I'd actually go into automation mode and stuff, and I'd be like, yo, I can't understand this. And he would always be watching over me like all nervous and
I'd be
shit.
like this, looking at him.
Yeah.
No, I love it because when I first met him, he would just make something on the modular and it'd be so sick, and he'd rip out the wires, and I'm like,
I know.
So now,
wait, let's read you click.
Let's
get that at tempo.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm really happy that he's so fast at Ableton now, because he can just.
I love it.
He finishes tracks in a couple hours, and it's amazing.
Oh yeah, that's been my new thing that I try and challenge myself. I released a lot of singles recently, and a lot of them I just made in one sitting, and I've been listening to them. When you take a month or two off of after your track's been released and you hear it again and I'm not thinking about the technical side because it's already out there and you could enjoy it, and it really trips me out of being so fast on these machines. I made a track some weeks ago, maybe a month or two ago, and it was for my friend's birthday. I was waiting to get picked up from one friend to take me to the birthday party, and she was taking a long time, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna come empty-handed to the birthday party, and then let me make a track real quick. And I made a track in 4 hours, and I released it the next week, and I'm like, this track feels so good to me.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah. And PILO actually hooked me up with his homie that we have a good digital distro that I kind of put him on the spot too much, our boy Zach.
He loves it. He stands. He's amazing. He's anytime Basecks me up, I drop everything and just
I know, he's amazing. And it's my numbers are not even doing as well as all the stuff he's dealing with, but.
And he likes your stuff.
But, So I'll make a track, and I'm like, could you get this on all digital platforms within 3 days? And he's like, all right, let's go. I got you, you know. So
Ultimate team, right?
So having that that support now, like just doing stuff quick feels so good. And part of that, which brings us, you asked what's the ultimate rave machine, and I believe it is.
Here it is, folks. He's going to
Rave.
show you what he
Electron
believes now.
analog
Is,
rhythm.
it's kind of disappointing that I sold mine, but then he told me, no, this is the Mark II.
Yo,
So
we want to get. He wants to get a second because I
Yeah.
got him on it.
Yeah.
And I'm borrowing Cyrus's, and I've been using 2 messing around at home, and I want my live set just to be 2 of these.
Well, I always had the Mark 1 for years, and I was like, okay. And then I saw him start shredding, and I was like, damn, I sold my rhythm. And I was like, I gotta get Mark 2 ASAP. And now I just make everything on there, so.
because the Mark II seems to be a lot better to me.
It is.
I never really messed with the one, but
I sold
It
it.
sounds better, the distortion's better.
Yeah,
you have
the
a bigger
screen was too small.
You can see the samples when you chop it. 'Cause
Yeah.
on the other one, I realized you can't fucking
The
see
other one,
it.
it's barely even like.
this one has an
It looks-
assignable knob that
This looks like it's. I can see on that
It looks
screen
like
from
is
here.
bigger, is bigger, so
Yeah.
it gives you more space. So what happened with this? I did a show for them, and I got it like a couple months before it came out, and I was so in love with the Tempest at the time
Right.
that this just sounded way too beefy for me. Like the Tempest seemed more well-rounded, and this, everything was just like poof poof. The snares felt like they like had deep sub low end, and I kind of, it would just collect dust for years. And my roommate at the time, Andrew Izapa, he was messing with his a lot, and we're both Leos, so we always have like a battle mentality, you know. So he's like, yo, I'm learning all this stuff on the Analog Rhythm, how to do rolls and stuff, and I'm like, huh. And then we go into my room, because we had 2 studios in the house. And then we go into my room, and whatever he's doing, I want to do better. and then I would be like, hey, check out what I just learned. And then so we would kind of just go back and forth. And then I got really into it. And then I realized that I started loving it as a sampler, because you could, you know, direct sample it, and you could stack it.
You can direct sample in the Mark II.
Yeah, but you know what?
What the hell? Then why you can't even talk about the Mark I then, right?
No, but
you
you
use like
but you know what you
SD
would,
card samples.
But you would
Yeah.
love about the Mark 1 too, once they added this program called Transfer, that
Oh, yeah.
you could just put all your stuff on the computer,
Yes,
drag
we
and
did.
drop them, and it just puts them in a folder.
And
So
I think the big thing too is when they add the VCO. The
yeah,
dual,
they added
dual
a dual VCO to it. That
Yeah,
that
I
use.
added those. I had those.
Yeah.
I added my samples. I just didn't like the format of
I
it.
think it's just you didn't get to see the samples too.
Right.
But like what's
And
really
then-
cool is I love to do like an assignable LFO to the sample slot.
Yeah.
So I'll make like break chops and then I'll just do like a crazy LFO to
But yeah,
it.
now we're in love with this thing. And
I can't believe you can sample into it. That makes it
Yeah.
a real machine.
Yeah.
I stopped sampling into it just because I was lining up all my samples in Ableton and making sure everything is warped, because if we do a lot of breakbeats on this, and I wanted to make sure, and plus I would do processing, you know, I'll throw a bunch of like plugins in Ableton of like saturators and slight bitrate reduction and what's that plugin we got really into? Soothe. There's this program called Soothe 2
Yeah.
that basically all the frequencies that they think are gonna be harsh for your ears. It's just one knob, and it starts pulling down the harsh
It's like,
frequencies.
I think it's like an AI kind of thing.
Yeah, it's kind of an AI thing.
It
Really?
checks, it reads
Yeah.
the waves.
What's it
and-
called?
Soothe
Soothe.
2.
Soothe 2.
So like
It's incredible.
when I started trying to learn how to make my stuff sound better and not be so harsh on the ears of like mixing and mastering and stuff, I got Soothe 2. So a lot of times I'll just
Why do these names have to be so weird to understand? I mean, did anybody
Soothe.
capture
Soothe, S-O-O-T-H-E.
I know.
Soothe.
Soothe.
Like- Soothe.
Like it's soothing.
Oh, Soothe.
Soothe, yeah.
Soothe too.
Soothe
Okay.
2.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, when you say it fast, it's all Soothe 2.
Soothe 2.
Soothe 2.
It's like, you say it like me. Soothe 2.
So what I do is like I blow everything out in Ableton, then put Soothe 2, and then I just drop it back on here, and
Is that the thing to do? Is to really prepare your samples then?
I felt like that's a lot better now.
Yeah.
I love doing direct sampling, but then I started realizing that my sample breaks weren't lining up correctly. So if you line up a lot of your breaks and sounds on point, and say you have a folder of like 12 break beats, one of the cheats is if you're recording into the DAW, and all your breaks are right by each other in your project inside of the Analog Rhythm, you have a crazy break pattern, and you just start turning the knob and just changing the break, and you could use that for fills and other stuff. And you have a think break, an amen break, a funky drummer, and all these classics along with some weird shit. And then you just turn that knob, and then when you listen back on it, it sounds like you're doing crazy stuff like with your edits, and you're just literally changing the sample for the.
Well, you can give us a demo on that in a sec.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
After we finish talking.
Yeah, I could also.
Oh, what happened to your power?
Oh, it was hanging out a little bit.
Nah.
I could also show how I make detuned like saws on this to do.
Oh yeah.
To do like.
How you confuse people by putting different names on it.
Oh yeah. It's
like the mono.
drum.
It says mono machine and machine drum on it. So
the machine mono machine.
Electron would kind of get mad at me sometimes, or not mad, but I would hear through
You're
other
like-
people that they'd be like, "Yo, Baseck has," and a lot of times I would just put a video like before NAMM, and then everyone will start posting and freak out, and then I hear that someone will be like, "Yo, who's doing that?" And then they'll hear it's me, and they're like, "Ah, whatever, he's the homie," but that's kind of funny. So yeah, my Analog Rhythm has an old mono machine sticker right over it.
Yeah, no, I loved it. So before we skip ahead to that, like you guys were talking about your releases coming out. Okay,
Oh
so
yeah.
is there a label?
Right now,
You guys with Boys Noise?
Yeah.
You're affiliated?
Yeah. So right now, the main stuff that I'm doing is Boys Noise Records and Evar Records.
Evar Records.
Yeah.
That's for Shanti, isn't it?
Yeah, John Frusciante and Oratio 9.
Yeah.
And their label, they've been doing some amazing stuff. I feel like it's the same stuff we were talking about. It's like super old school rave roots, but current stuff. And actually, I did a lot of self-releasing too. I just released on Evar Records a collaboration with Oratio 9 called West Coast, and it's part 1, 2, and 3, and it's just basically our love songs to LA and to the West Coast. G whistles in every song. And
So good.
the first track we did on the EP is like an old school tear out drum and bass track. The second track is like super hard electro. The third track is almost like a trance track. And so that was one of the bigger releases that came out. And I have a label called Hyped On Experience, and that name I got from some artist that really inspired me when I was 12 years old. I have to show it to you. The Hyper On Experience, everyone check out. They were doing super cut up sampler stuff with insane edits, like around the time that Asen was doing Trip to the Moon and stuff like that.
Right.
But Hyper On Experience, I think it was like 2 or 3 people, and they were going even more insane.
Oh, wow.
Their edits were like
Were they around back
crazy.
then?
Yeah, they were around back then. And they kind of fell off and just didn't release anything. So I was like, oh, I'm going to steal the name. And instead of Hyper On Experience, I'm going to do Hyped On Experience with a D. And I started throwing parties in that name. And then once PILO hooked me up with his homie Zach to do releasing my own music, he's like, well, we actually release music from labels, so if you're going to release through us, let's like create your label. And I was like, oh, Hyped On Experience. And then later on, Hyper On Experience came back and started releasing music again. And I was like, oh, I hope I don't get any like legal stuff with them, but who cares, you know?
It's all love.
Yeah, it's all love. But yeah, so I have a label, not label, called Hyped On Experience, and I don't have any social media with it or anything, but a lot of my singles that are up there on all the digital platforms are Hyped On Experience. And I think I released, there's been a lot of remixes and stuff lately. I think there was 8 to 11 releases I did like in the last 3 months.
Do you ever take any days off?
A lot of
No.
times we don't. Like,
Well, we don't understand. I try to do that for myself, and it's like been 5 hours. I'm like, all right, it's time to work. Because like our brains just want to keep going.
we have a lot of the same.
You got a good energy at your pad too. when
Yeah,
studios.
yeah, it feels really
Incredible.
good.
We just hype each other all the time
Yeah.
because we're just stoked all the time. You'll show me a lot of new stuff, or I'll show him a new demo, and we just like, all right, let's fucking go. Let's write
yeah.
another track. Let's write
That's
another
how it
album.
works.
And I really wanted to push myself too. You know, like you were saying, being known for the drum machine stuff. I was like, whoa, all that stuff is amazing, but I put a lot of energy to the social media side, and I just
for
I did that so I could get more bookings and so I could work with more synth manufacturers and stuff, and that started happening, and then I started realizing like, oh, okay, now my artist side needs to start coming out more, and that's why I just went crazy, and I was like, let's just keep on releasing singles and see what happens, which is awesome. Like the streaming numbers seems to be doing pretty well, and more people want to book me and fly me out places, and
The AI.
you know, you actually had a flyer open that I'm going to be playing 3 shows with the homies, the Glitch Mob, coming up, and I feel like a lot of that stuff starts happening because once you start feeding your own artistic fire and putting your stuff out there in the world, that stuff will just start happening. So yeah, more shows are popping off, getting asked to do more projects, and
check out his Instagram. This is where you're going to see like some great demos, and this is where most of your info is released on where to find your material, right?
Top tier.
And like, I mean, is it safe to say that you play like live still every weekend?
Yeah,
it's playing a lot.
Aren't you? Hey, isn't it funny though? Are you literally like playing somewhere tonight?
I'm like, damn, am I? No, I'm actually not.
The same but different festival in Paris, California?
No, but no, you know what? Like, people get confused on this because the little legend on it, I'm only playing 3 of these shows.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, see, the little
people got
dots. There it
confused.
is.
Yeah.
Okay, here with Baseck with the things.
The homegirl Anna Morgan, she's really good. Everyone should check her out.
So you're going to Brooklyn. You're going to be in Brooklyn.
Yeah, I'm gonna be in
9/16.
I actually had like a week off, and it was kind of nice. I played, I think, 2 or 3 shows last week, and but yeah, there was a time I was actually getting a little bit burned out, and that's why I took a break to try.
San Fran on the 21st of October.
Yeah.
My birthday.
I think I have like 5 shows within the next month.
Dang, you play on my birthday in San Francisco.
But it's safe to say that if you're in LA,
yeah,
there's going to be a show.
I'm usually playing the weekends.
Well, I'm gonna roll up to that. What the fuck? I'll come on.
What was the other one? Is this one? No, that's not.
No, that already happened. That was good.
Was there a flyer for another one there?
Yeah, I think on the Instagram there's some stuff.
On the Instagram.
Yeah. We just played that. Me and CZ played that.
You did that.
Yeah, we used the analog rhythm, and he had the octatrack and a digitone, and that's when we used the modular effects. That was a Das Bunker throne event called Manufactured in LA, and we got to hit our crazy sounds on a Function 1 sound system.
Yeah,
that's always fun when you get to play
dope.
that.
Yeah, that sounds really good.
Do you want to hear a track from this now?
Yeah. Well, let's get into your world of the mono. Oh, the mono machine. It's not a mono machine.
It's an Analog Rhythm Mk2.
It's the Analog Rhythm Mk2.
It tricked you also.
It's the machine morph.
What do you want to show us on that?
I'll just do like a quick 3-minute song or something. Is that cool?
Absolutely. Give me a sec. Whoa, yeah. Give me a sec to switch this over. You ready?
Yeah, let me look real quick at what song I want to play.
Okay.
All right, I'll play one with a lot of trance melodies with some trash can drums.
So this is all going to be from the one machine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, so it's good to also point out that the jam that you guys were doing at the beginning, you were actually playing BRAP.
Yeah, we had 4 channels of BRAP, and then PILO was on the
was playing the Planet Fat Rave unit. And so that was being triggered by the Varigate 8.
Yep.
Over there, which I believe you are probably the master of. Did you have anything to do with that? The Varigate 8? Any of the updates or anything?
I didn't actually.
No?
Just the voltage block.
But Ben Davis, man.
Oh, you know what? I asked Ben Davis to put a... Actually, yours has an old firmware. We should update it. I asked Ben to put a live mode on there. And now, if you do a button combination on the newer firmware of recall and probability, you can press the triggers and you could just do them automatically, and it'll quantize into the sequencer.
Right.
So that's one of the modes that actually did have asked Ben to put in. I don't know if it was a direct result of me or if he was already thinking it, but
I think that's still for me one of my favorite modules of Eurorack. Is the Varigate. I don't know why. It just seems like it's one step above the limitations of many of the other things.
And at the time too, now there's tons of sequencers, but at the time there wasn't any that were doing, I don't think there was, that were doing probability, that were doing the type of ratcheting that it could do.
Yeah.
It was really intense. And now most of the sequencers that come out have all of those things, thankfully, you know?
Yeah, and I don't know. I've always seen what you get out of it and how much on the fly you basically have going. It's always incredible to witness. So what are you going to show us here? You were going to show us something cool about this. What is it?
Let's get wild. Analog Rhythm. This is an unreleased track.
Unreleased track.
I'm probably gonna finish it, and for my full-length album that I'm creating for Eva Records.
Okay, let it rip, baby.
All right. But it's like...
Hey! Yeah, that's...
One more, alright.
Yeah,
let's see.
We asked for an encore. It's like the typical case of like, does anybody out there have like a console they want to like donate to the studio here? I have like a 30-year-old Mackie 56 by 8 that is like a dinosaur.
Every time we touch
it, it like makes crackling sounds and shit.
I love it.
But we kind of love it for its character, so I guess we're gonna go with it.
But it's
PILO, I like your attitude.
I know he loves it. He's like, let's sample that.
I spent like 2 hours trying to emulate that. So
You know what I love most about PILO? PILO, can I ask you respectfully? How old are you again?
29.
So one time I said to him, "Fucking sounds like hair metal, fucking Motley Crue or something." He said, "What's that?"
That was hilarious.
That was honest too. He wasn't joking.
That was like 3 years ago.
If there's anything more of a blessing is to not have ever heard of hair metal.
When he was 26, yeah.
He's only heard rave music, so that's fucking awesome.
Yeah,
his dad.
I love that.
His dad played like Prodigy and Aphex Twin and stuff for him when he
Are
was
you
younger.
kidding?
Yeah,
My dad.
His dad's from Manchester.
Yeah, my dad's from Manchester, so he was born and he went to like Hacienda Factory. So when I was really young, he showed me like Cabaret
Orbital,
Voltaire,
all that
Orbital,
stuff.
Prodigy, Chemical Brothers, all that shit. Even like Tribe Called Quest and stuff. He put me on very young. He took me to raves when I was like 9 years old, 10 years old.
Isn't that incredible?
So that shit's been in my DNA since birth.
What's the first
But I
concert?
never listened to
The first thing
hair
you
metal.
ever saw was electronic, man.
Yeah, I went to go see Prodigy when they headlined Coachella.
Fuck.
I know.
How old were you then?
I was sitting on the garden rail and they were playing Smack
see-
My Bitch Up. The security guard knocked me out, took me like just like get the fuck off the railing. and then Keith went up to the security guard during the chorus and was like, "Smack my bitch up" to the security guard.
Because they saw what went on?
I guess so. I don't know. I don't know if he saw it. My dad says so. I don't think so.
That's
But
funny.
the security guard didn't fuck me for the rest of the night. And I was sitting on the railing while
That's
watching Prodigy.
amazing.
I remember when the Prodigy's first album came out, The Experience.
Yeah.
I thought I mean, ASN was around and then
Yeah.
Prodigy. I almost thought it was maybe the same people because of some similarities. But
Right.
I always thought that was just a totally brilliant time change era. Like that was a shift in all music at that point. I felt.
got super
You know what's
hardcore
twisted
started
though
there.
for me is that, so like I was saying, we found out about all this stuff through the mixtapes through REW and stuff, and to us it was a super secretive underground society type thing. Like
Yeah.
friends would even be like, "Oh, you can't dub my tape," because like everyone was gatekeeping everything. So, and at the time, you know, MTV late at night they were showing. I don't know if anyone remembers the name of the MTV show. They were playing Aphex Twin, Atari Teenage Riot, Square Pusher.
120 minutes.
No, it was a show late at night. Amp. No, I don't remember what it was called. But I actually would get bummed out because they would like show Aphex Twin, and when Come to Daddy first came out, they did like a premiere, and I was like, oh, this sucks. And the reason why I thought it sucks because we were like gatekeeping and we thought everything was so underground.
Amp TV.
Yeah, Amp TV. And I thought that like anything that I saw on television sucked. So and all the artists that I was listening to, I didn't realize was influenced by Aphex Twin. And I would be like, this sounds like my friend's tracks, like Somatic Responses from Wales. And I didn't realize like all this crossover. So Prodigy were hitting when they did Smack My Bitch Up. I was like, oh, I hate this. What is this commercial trash? I was like, who are these people that are commercializing? Because, you know, we're in Lancaster getting rave mixtapes not knowing that it's like in the charts in the UK, you know? So there was this weird like disconnect that I found out later when I first toured Europe. And I was talking to my friend like, oh, like, you know, remember Baby D, Let Me Be Your Fantasy? That was like the ultimate track at the end of the rave. And she started laughing. She's like, we were kids, like 9 years old singing that because it was in the charts. And it blew my brain, you know?
Yeah, I'd even listened to that first Prodigy album. I grew up with Fat of the Land.
And then
So I grew up on that. Didn't even hear that first album until I was like 16, 17.
Yeah, so when I started going back and like I'm like listen to what people were talking about, Orbital and all, and even Aphex Twin, and luckily it wasn't too late. I was like 18 or something, and then you know my homie Mark Monotech from Dark Matter Sound System, he'd be like, no, there's actually super dope stuff, but they would just poke their head out and do something more commercial, you know, just actually because it's the music industry, you know. So yeah, that's my my take on it, because I was really mad at it a lot.
Yeah.
Like, who are these commercial suckers?
Yeah, it was. Some people didn't. Yeah, some people got mad about it. I remember people were mad about it.
Yeah, it's the same as like drum and bass when it started getting really big, or jungle. It was like, it's just when it crosses to the mainstream, people get protective of it.
Yeah.
Should I do one more?
I was sitting on that.
Yeah. How come we only got one channel again, though?
Oh shit!
It's just this. I don't know about y'all. That sounds fire though.
Wait. There we good.
Yeah. Sounds. Hang on. You guys would like to hear. Did you hear that sound of that?
I want to resample that. That sounds
Yeah, me
cool.
too. Okay, you ready? You're gonna give us another track?
Yep. Oh wait, so this track too, some of those MC307 tracks like this. Is it one side again? Let's just put them in the middle, huh? Like fuck the panning. So I took a lot of MC307 sounds and put them in here. That way I have more.
Oh, amazing!
crazy
So this
control.
so it's sample. Okay, here we go. Just gonna roll. Okay. Yeah.
Is it back on the mic?
Yeah, back on the mic. Wow.
So that's a synth. One of them,
Snaps.
I stole a riff from PILO because sometimes,
You stole a riff from PILO.
yeah, sometimes like if he'll come over and he'll make a pattern on my machine, and then it'll be like a month later.
And I'm like, damn, was my name on that? I don't care though. We're homies. We help each other out.
So, and then I was like, I think, didn't I send you a clip? We send each other clips all the time of like what we're working on. And I didn't realize. I didn't even
It was
realize
on
that.
it was
that
on
you made it,
Instagram,
right?
and I messaged you after. I was like, hey, that's the riff I made.
He did a bass line, that one that was like the really big drum and bass one.
Yeah,
And they're like, okay, whatever.
whatever. That's how we do it. There's millions of riffs that are out there that we create.
The ultimate rave machine.
Do you travel still with the Tempest, though?
Every once in a while, yeah.
But it's gone in the back seat now?
You know what? There's actually still like a dozen tracks that I want to get off of there.
Yeah.
And release as an album.
But you don't grab it to compose as much anymore.
Not as much, but I will do some wild sound design to use it as a synth. Because I think like having 4
Right.
layers with sub oscillators like really shines. And it actually is super deep. Like it has a mod matrix where I think it's like over. You could assign like one LFO to 8 different destinations if you want. So it is still amazing, but it has taken a back seat.
What about the Octatrack versus that one?
You know,
I sold mine.
You did?
I
Good to
sold
hear,
mine.
good to hear.
Because I had the rhythm and the Octatrack, and I just was on the rhythm all the time, and I was like, I hate having this guild. It's really good.
Yeah.
Because I would have synthesis going. I would have some like chords and arps going in. I'd resample live.
Yeah.
And fuck with it, and it was really cool for that. But I was like, if I just use the rhythm, I'm gonna optimize the most out of it. So I
Right.
just use that because it does sampling already, and it does synthesis
Yeah.
and all that shit.
I don't even use the Octatrack anymore. I use this, and the same thing.
I love
It's like
this honesty.
it's like when you put a
Ugh.
sample in here, you beef it up with the analog distortion.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
And then with the analog filter on top of that. So
And then you don't have to spend a year and a half learning its architecture.
Yeah,
And
I have
I
a
think-
manual. Took me forever
Yeah.
to learn the thing. Just so much deep shit to it.
And you know what? Before the Mark II even came out, Venetian Snares was saying that he was using his rhythm just basically as a sampler. And that's what
Oh, okay.
I'm doing, except I'm still using some of their synth voices in here.
Oh, yeah.
I'll usually use like a hi-hat and a ride that are analog from their synthesis, and usually a kick drum, and then...
What about those oscillators that they put in?
Yeah, I'll use the
Use those-
oscillators too.
use
I
those
know how to do
great.
it really
Yeah.
quick to make a trance sound.
Yeah.
I'll put like high pass filters on it with high resonance, and I'll use the LFO to slowly shift it around. And I was like, oh, that's how you make that like classic '90s.
Yeah, you got it nailed down to the
Even your pads and all that stuff, you're taking from like the Rave machine, the 307, sampling into there.
A lot of them,
Or
yeah.
where do you like the polyphonic synths, right?
Mm-hmm.
What do you like for your pads or your things that you're going to use that are outside of that world? Is there anything?
Hydra's.
Hydra
Oh yeah, he
Yeah.
has a desktop Hydra.
You got the
And
Hydra,
desktop.
what, the Explorer or the desktop?
The desktop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty cool, huh?
I had the Waldorf Iridium, but I was just tired of messing with the screen and it kept messing up.
Ah,
I was
His
like,
love
screen
it.
kept turning black all the
yeah,
time.
I was like, you know what? I'm gonna sell this because I don't want like an Apple product. It's like an iPad. I'm like, it's just it's so unreliable.
No, it sounds sick.
It sounds
though.
amazing, but
Yeah, this is the most honest review show you're ever going to see.
yeah, we don't.
That's great.
It's pretty unfiltered.
What about the sale on that OP6? Did you guys not pick up one of those?
What's that?
He's got
The
one of
Korg
these.
OP6.
Oh, up 6, yeah.
Yeah.
I got one. I think it's incredible. I just need to set it up better because it's actually, it doesn't have a space for it.
Yeah.
So I have it underneath my modular and I forget it's there. You know how my place is. There's
You have a lot of things
there's a
that
lot
are.
of- there's a lot of
he's like a
storage.
gear order for sure.
You're a gear hoarder now.
Which is great.
What about that
because-
Roland thing?
Which one?
The JU06. You had it before anybody. It was like that little,
Oh, the tiny one?
the little Jupiter thing.
Oh, that's sick. The one
It's
with
sick,
all the
yeah.
ARPs on it?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's $200. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I should start using it for pads.
Yeah, he probably
I have-
still has
Yeah,
that.
a sheet of paper probably is on top
Yeah.
of it, and I forgot
Also,
it's there.
I think what else I have is the MS-20, the classic. I just run it through. I run everything through the filter, and then I trigger it with notes, and then I just distort because the MS-20 filter sounds incredible. And I'll show you because I'll cycle through samples of sequences, and I'll just fucking.
So you're an Analog Rhythm Mark II boy too,
Mark II
Yeah.
boy.
and you throw away all your other gear.
Allegiance to the Mark II. Yeah, exactly.
An Ableton, and a Mark II,
I only
Yeah.
fuck with the rhythm.
and no other thing comes to mind. No other things
I just
like
have FX. That's all. Like FX, my Hydra, that.
Yeah.
shit ton of Ableton stuff.
My
I have an iPad app called Borderlands Granular. That shit's incredible too.
Oh, iPad
It's
apps
so
are
good.
Sampler is also really good.
Oh, yeah.
iPad app.
Check that out.
Because you can play the samples like you've never, like with your hands.
Really?
Wow!
gotta
Yeah, it's
check
fucking
that.
amazing.
My
Yeah.
iPad actually has been sitting there too.
Yeah,
just
it's waiting
collecting
for that.
dust. I actually got one to do a lot of more of my shirt and clothing designs because I've been making more clothing, and it's just been sitting there. I just use it sometimes to watch a show when I'm eating food now. So I got to. I should add some music apps on it.
Yeah, like that one photo thing that does like AI generation and stuff.
Yeah.
I've been doing like a lot of like art with that kind of stuff for artwork and shit.
So for pads for me, I've been just using the Grooveboxes, the Roland D2, the MC307. Oh, you know what I got recently? What's the name of that big ass Roland that I got? Oh, the V-Synth.
Oh, you found one.
Yeah.
Oh, this thing's insane.
I don't even.
I call it the relic dinosaur of my setup.
Oh, you have one too?
Yeah, upstairs.
Oh, it's amazing. I love that thing actually.
You love it, huh?
It has,
It has some great
weird time
features to
hold
it,
type
yeah.
shit. And
And the sampler is kind of cool too.
the sampler's amazing.
Yeah.
It's so easy too.
Yeah.
I believe it's 1/4 inch input. You hit it, you can put a breakbeat in there, but it has that time freeze, and your shit sounds like Square Pusher. You're like, do cat ticka ticka it just holds, you know, like
Yeah.
whatever algorithms they use for their
Those
their
breakbeats
freeze
in there
is amazing.
They have like liquid breakbeats.
So you
in
do
there,
actually have a big synthesizer.
You know what? That's
That's the one big
That's
synth
the
that he
one,
has.
yeah, and it was kind of pricey. I think I bought it for like
Gotta put this
900
back.
or something, and
I
I got Oratio9 to buy one. She bought one immediately from Guitar Center. She found one for a good price because
I might go to the bank and just get a loan so I can buy one too.
Well,
It's
now you got to
so
get the
good.
Fat and the
Yeah.
V-Synth. You can get them both
Yeah.
for less than what, $400 probably.
yeah.
I'm gonna sell a kidney or something.
Oh,
once
you
I get one.
know what I've been on to a lot? JP880 still.
Oh yeah.
Because since I fell in love with the trance stuff, and when I was living with AP Felix, we were listening to Lorenzo Senni, and we were like, oh wait, Lorenzo Senni just uses the JP880 nonstop, and I was down in his basement one time and just getting some boxes to ship something out, and I saw a JP880 right there with saran wrap around it. And I was like, wait, this is the synth we were talking about. He's like, yeah, that's the trance synth that everyone knew as like, has super saws on it.
Yeah.
And I was like, why is it down in the basement? He goes, oh, the volume pot on it was scratchy, and I was going to solder a new one in, but I kind of just forgot about it. I was like, well, can I put this in my studio? And I kept it in my studio for like a year and got really into it, and then ended up buying one. And JP880 is really cool for...
We made a lot of stuff with that one.
I've been making some pads on that too.
We
But
made
you,
some like ARPs, some pads. I feel like that thing can do a lot of things.
you know what's good? That pedal that I have. Do you remember what it's called? They sent it. Shout out to that company that I don't remember with their pedal. I don't
Microcosm?
remember the name. Yeah, Microcosm.
The Microcosm.
Microcosm
Shout out.
is the name of a pedal that
vocoder on
you
the
put
JP.
anything into the microcosm and it just turns into lush ambient textures that are all pulling
It's
around.
like a texture mummy.
It's a pedal?
It's a pedal and it has all these different digital algorithms that are
Yes.
that are granular with sequencers on it that'll kind of make your shit jump around different octaves. It'll kind of like
kinda like a little PILO in
stretch
a
out
box.
the grains. Yeah, a lot of processing that he does, this pedal does. And also at the end of the chain it has a reverb that you could crank and it has a filter. So if you're putting harsh sounds, of course, filter out the high end, crank the reverb, and let this thing go wild.
That's what I love when things you throw into and it turns into a totally different thing. I'm like, okay, this is sick.
How much has everyone spent on cables and cords?
Oh.
As you can hear, there's some cables and cords that need to be.
Yeah, these cables are probably from like 1990.
No, it's actually not the cables. It's the console.
No,
This console is
this
from-
cable was actually acting weird.
Yeah, she was acting.
Yeah, maybe it is. You know,
Isn't this one of those like monsters or one of those
it's one of those
ones
monster cables that
that have lifetime warranty,
say they
right?
have warranties, but you know, they,
We should check
Save
into
the
that. We should
motherfucking
check into that.
Monday.
you know, we've been talking about wiring and rigs and
Yo,
all
shout
this
out
stuff.
Hosa. We have all this
Hosa?
gear.
Where
and
the
so- and some-
Hosas at?
sometimes-
Where would we be without the Hosa?
Sometimes I just rock Hosas, and my boy like Delivery. I think I talked to you about him. He makes these sick like acid tracks, but he's all about like, yo, we gotta get the gold-plated Mogami and stuff. And I'm like, dude, I'm rocking the $8 Hosa still, you know?
Amazon Basecks cables.
Some noise has to be added somewhere
Yeah,
along the
it's
way.
like I'm like I don't really care honestly.
Oh, yeah, hologram microcosm. That's a good one.
Hologram.
That's the one that we've been
microcosm.
talking about.
Thanks, Nick.
That one's super dope.
Big one. Big up. Big up.
Yeah, big up all you guys. Any
Yeah.
questions for Baseck or PILO? Fire them now. We're about to hit the decks.
Yeah, everyone check out our stuff on streaming. Like I have a Daedalus remix.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I've known him for years, and
it.
finally I've crushed the remix in
Yeah.
one day. Woo!
Really?
Yeah.
Arthur, man, he's
Shout out.
guy's an awesome guy. Another
Alfred.
What? Alfred.
Yeah, yeah. He moved to Boston.
Where'd he move to?
I think to Boston to teach.
Oh, wow.
School, some sound class. So I have a Daedalus remix that just came out. The West Coast EP with Aura T09. Let's see what else.
We're finishing up something for a single for
We're
the next 2 weeks.
We're gonna do a Torture Rhythm
Sculptor
tracks.
That's gonna be released like probably with my label Motor Reflex and his label together.
And where do we find that?
Bandcamp, online,
Oh, Bandcamp.
stream
Bandcamp.
services.
No, it'll be on all streams.
Yeah, it'll be on street.
Send me the links and I'll post them with this
Okay.
with this chat.
Yeah.
There was a techno track
Links
I
in
did with my
description.
friend called Ghost in the Machine that just came out, a hard techno track. I remixed my homie Technoist that just came out. I did a Regal 86, like more footwork type of track
That
collab.
one's tight.
I remixed the homies Final XOXO, super breakcore shit.
Fire.
I made this track called A Single Feeling 24K. Nina de la Luna just came out. I did like a hyper track called Make a Move, remixed my homegirl Maybe. There's just tons of stuff. Just go.
Send me these links and I'll post them so people can.
It's
check
actually
them out.
just everywhere on all
Everywhere,
streaming.
yeah.
Yeah, just search Baseck. There's a lot of new remixes. Mad
Just search
stuff.
Baseck on streaming.
Yeah.
suck.
And the guy's everywhere. I mean, if you didn't hear already, you're going to hear him soon, and then some.
And I forgot to bring a hard drive because we have tons of stuff on here, and one of these days I'd like to bounce them all out. And since now I'm super producer on the Ableton, I would like to take all our stuff that we have and just
Absolutely.
really try and chop them
Yo.
up.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
we have some
What was
gold
that
in
one
there.
track that? Yeah, I guess some really crazy track I remember a while back. He used the Overstare.
Oh
Remember
yeah.
what we're talking about? I was like, what the fuck is that track? I hate that.
I'll have to go through and find it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do your homies on here know about our secret weapon, the Overstare?
Yeah, the Overstare we have discussed as being kind of an essential tracking item. It's called the modular channel,
Yeah.
which actually
You can
doesn't
buy
have
used-
anything to do with modulars, but
You could buy a used Honda Civic, or you could get an Overstare, or you could get an Overstare to make your
You can
sound.
pay down your credit card or
it's a
add
stereo
up to your
channel.
debt.
It basically has filter, it has compression, it has EQ, it
Overdrive.
has saturation,
Yeah,
it has
saturation.
overdrive,
Like 3 different distortions.
three different distortions and saturations,
2 filters.
2 filters all in one rack, and it's reasonably priced. I've got to say, it's probably
The 2800.
Overwhelming but amazingly sounding.
amazing sounding. I guarantee that if you get
What's
it,
that
it will
even
change
Yeah,
the
we
scope of
do.
your thing. It's a rack
We did on ours.
that you can find online at overstare, I believe, .com.
Yeah.
Or no, it's at
No, it's some other stuff.
There's something else I forgot.
what's it called?
It could be Overstare. There's still Overstare.
Sherman
Check out
Filter Bank,
modular
someone
channel,
saying.
Overstare.
Sherman Filter Bank.
He used
I
to be on that shit all the
Yeah,
time.
then I got rid of it. 'cause
And
There's
he
one right there.
it's a beautiful
Any
thing.
notoriously glitchy, do not buy bad gear. All gear is good. You can find a way to use.
I sold
any-
my
Be
Andromeda.
careful when you get a Waldorf Iridium. It could break.
Okay, yeah, so warning on that. I thought that the Quantum and the Iridium were like hyped more than any other synth that I've ever heard, and
It's
big respect to the people that love it. But I went and I couldn't get into it.
Yeah, it's like a very
Yeah. I've had
Richard Devine-y-
virtual synths that are more compelling.
It's like a Richard
Maybe I'm
Devine eyepiece, but it made some great sounds. I've used a lot of it.
Yeah.
What else? Yeah, we used the mono machine through the Overstare for our sculptor tracks, torture rhythm stuff. I made it first
Mono
time
machine,
I
you
used
sure?
Yeah, the real mono machine.
real
mono
mono
machine.
machine. I haven't used it in forever. It was one of the first pieces of gear I bought years ago and sold it.
Oh yeah, we ran the mono machine through the effects, through the Overstare, and blasted it out. And that's gonna be on one of our new.
Yeah, I made a crazy ass bass line because you can stack the effects.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I was really impressed with myself. And then we ran it through the
Hold on,
Yamaha.
didn't they make a mono machine too, though?
No.
They didn't. It's just that original
Just
one.
that original one. They have like an extension.
did they
I
make
thought
a
they
what?
made a black one, a black mono machine.
Oh, Richard Devine has.
Oh, it's just a
Black
custom
machine
face.
drum.
Plates,
It's
yeah.
a custom face plate.
I
Well,
Bummer.
hey, you guys.
Thanks everyone for tuning in.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Good
thanks
to
to
go.
everybody
Great
for tuning in today and getting your earful of
Follow us
what's
on the
coming.
socials. If you're
Make
not
sure to go
already.
check out these guys' tunes, Baseck and PILO, and you know, keep it together here. I think Nick sang, any tips for mixing synth bass with deep kicks?
Just sidechain that shit. That's it.
Yeah, look.
Oh, Track Spacer.
Track Spacer is a good plugin.
It's like a
And
multi.
then color limiter or limiter on a group channel with the kick and the bass. So they limit each other. It sounds really good. Do that.
That's awesome advice, PILO.
Trust me, I have spent years without. Now I'm mastering it. I got to share with everyone.
What is that plugin again?
Track Spacer is
Yeah.
really good, and then you can use a color limiter, which is in Ableton's for free. Use those two things and
Is
navigate with
Track
it.
Spacer VST?
Yeah, it's a VST. So you can use a signal, and it'll
It's
duck
basically
down the
like
frequencies.
it's basically a multi-band like compression,
yeah,
right?
yeah. So you can duck the frequencies of what's being sidechained.
But
so,
it's done really easy.
so like your kick will hit, and then your bass will go in. It's wonderful. That's all you
Everyone
need
get
is
that
space.
side chaining, and don't spend $2,500. Oh
$500.
yeah, thanks for saving me $2,500 for not buying an Iridium.
Yeah, I did that. Yeah.
Oh, that's
Got
Eric.
you.
Eric, yeah, I think that was probably good advice.
Learn from my panic and
Well-
anxiety.
Oh, one of the things that I've
Seriously.
been noticing too in mixing is I just do volume automation to cut out a lot of different things. I'll even do that on bass lines and make sure that a lot of things are just straight doing volume automation and copy
Yeah.
and paste those to just do the ducking, because that way I don't have to rely on a compressor or something
Yeah.
like that. And sometimes, you know, the frequencies are so full with, if you're using wild distorted sounds, you wouldn't even tell that it ducks the bass or something really quick, because
Yeah,
our
it's
ears
all-
are just perceiving it as being there. So
Yeah, you gotta have silence between things, shape it, because it's like, imagine having all these things in a room, you gotta shape it to fit, you know, make it look good. So always the visual aspect helps a lot with mixing.
Absolutely.
Respect to all the future sound warriors.
Yeah, all
Air
the future
horn.
sound warriors out there. Big thanks to you, Richard Dawson, JC Stowe, Eric Peterson, Acid Bat, Beveled Blades, Scott, thank you, Scott, Nick, Ersic Grove, all you guys out there, hang in there and see you next time.
Keep on shredding.